It's been a little bit of time since I did any work on this. I've had wisdom tooth out and varying other things. But I've been continuing on. The road system's okay, but I decided to take a break from that for a while, and instead I've been working on my scenes system. So scenes essentially allows you to go into the editor and mark any items you want as being part of a scene and then save them off, and that makes them disappear. Now, other things I've done before, when you've entered a house, for example, it then loads the internal contents of the house based on a scene. What I wanted to do was stream the scenes so that you can have them appear. So what we can see here is two white cubes. They're empty markers, but they're both scenes. So now the engine can handle multiple scenes at once. And as I come down here and get within the trigger distance, you can see this scene is now loaded in. If I go away again, it disappears quite seamlessly. So that little scene is just those two pieces of furniture, and this scene is just those two trees, so they can zoom in and out. Now you can pick absolutely any objects within the game world to become part of a scene, and it makes it quite powerful in the sense that I could, for example, have a ton of objects dotted around this park, little small objects I only want to be rendered when players are close to them. So I'd create a scene with it, and then if I went over here, for example, it will just drop all of that out of RAM. And it'll stop processing it, so it massively speeds up. Now, that's one reason I might want to do it. Another reason I might want to do it is for the seamless transition inside and outside of the building. So if I come up here, you can see this floor plan for this building is completely empty. But I have got a marker here. There's a scene in here. Now the floor here, I don't know why, when you get too close it swaps textures and it glitches out. But as I come down to the building, you can see here, in a second, boom, it loads in the scene. It's completely seamlessly in the background. So the idea is when the player comes in the stairs, you can walk up and we can set either, at the moment it's set to be a distance, so as soon as you come within a certain distance of the scene's marker, it automatically loads in the scene. Now it's not just copying and cloning objects, it's loading the objects and the textures and everything else as they're needed, so as they're not needed they're cleared out of memory again. But the next thing we can do is we can set up zones. So for example, I could set a zone which is a cube, which encompassed the whole flat area, basically said, maybe go one flight of steps down. So we get to about here, and then as soon as the player gets to here or above, automatically it says, oh, load the scene that is the flat. So all the furniture and high detailed scene loads in. As soon as you leave the building, drops out. Simples. Actually only took about 2 hours to amend the scene loading system. So I'm quite happy with it. And if I just drop in here and show you in first person, so obviously the markers don't render when you're in the game, it all functions perfectly inside the game as well. So if I come away, oops, went through my van, come away there, as soon as I come away, the scene drops out. Obviously you wouldn't want large objects like trees just automatically dropping in, but theoretically you could have a similar system. So what I could do is I could have a large number of high detailed trees, for example, to make a simple LOD system, have them all set to a scene, replace each one with a planner, just a straight plane with a photo of a tree, have that as an opposing scene, and then have it toggle. So as soon as it's in a certain distance, one activates. Here it says a certain distance, another one activates. Complex jungle, LOD. Of course I've got other ways of doing that, but hey ho. But now the engine will load up as many scenes as I care to build.